Sky Howdy, and welcome back to another episode of World Bigfoot Radio. And we are back once again with Brown Dwarf, who is going to finish updating us from the first show where we had internet problems and we didn't really get it recorded. So we're going to start out talking about a couple of Bigfoot pictures. But I got to tell you, folks, this guy has so much amazing stuff to show us on this show. By the time we're done, you'll be taking your old film copies of the Patterson Gimlin movie and just burning it, taking a whiz on it. You don't even care anymore. No, I'm not trying to oversell it or anything, and no pressure whatsoever. But here's Brown Dwarf.
Greetings, greetings. Thanks for having me back, Duke. Greetings to everyone out there listening. And yeah, man, excited to be back here. And yeah, let's jump on in. I guess we took off last time with some photos that we didn't get to get into. And yeah, so the first photo there was a timestamp out of a video. And just to do a quick recap, I'm pretty much based out of Humboldt County, California. People don't know that's on the northwest on the coast of California, almost hitting Oregon. And it's the area, actually, it's bordering Del Norte County and Humboldt County, where the Patterson Gimlin film was filmed. And yeah, Humboldt is known for Sasquatches, and you could look it up online. There's books out there about the area. And yeah, so touching back on these pictures, the first one you had showed at the end of the last interview was a timestamp that was given to me by someone that spotted it in my video. So I didn't spot this subject at the time, actually, but I did zoom in an area where I felt certain vibes were coming from. And sure enough, after we went through the video, we spotted several subjects. And I did send a video over to you, Duke. What first caught my eye in the video was there was some leaves and what looked like bushes, trees, and you know those pareidolia faces that you get sometimes. One of those happened to pop out, and it was out of the leaves. So it was a green face, but it looked more human, more like a ghostly type figure, and that got my attention. And at the time, I was zoomed in this area, and I started to pan across the area. And that's where we captured this next subject, where we captured this timestamp. And it was weird because during the video, I didn't spot the subject right away. We didn't spot it right away. There was something else going on above the subject that caught my eye. It looked like another subject on top of this one. And in the video, it looks like it blinks. And it's really weird. It'll be hard to point out, but maybe some people might be able to catch it. But anyway, so my friend spotted this subject under it, and it blew me away, man. And it just totally looks like a Bigfoot, what people, think of a Bigfoot. And yeah, we didn't go back to do any checkup on the area because I kind of forgot. This was several years back. Forgot the exact spot. I have an idea more or less where, but yeah, we didn't get to check to see if there's any stumps or if the object had moved or anything like that. But in the picture, you can see pretty clearly what looks like teeth showing. And I continued panning, and off to the right of these particular subjects that I'm speaking of was another subject, a dark figure, and it looked just as dark as the first subject we're talking about, or the second, I mean. And but it had a rounder head. It had a different shaped head. So I don't know if it's a couple other subjects in that particular area as well. But you did show a picture of that as well. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see if we could get any more data out of that stuff. But yeah, so you guys check out that video, and yeah, I'm glad. That also brings me to the PG site. So we're going to be bouncing around Humboldt County here. And so the first area I was talking about was down in the middle, about mid part of the county towards the coast, but it's a particular redwood grove there. So now bouncing over to
Can you
Bluff
move
Creek.
back a little bit? You're kind of like only getting part of your face on. You're too close to the camera.
Okay, sorry about that.
Right.
Yeah, so bouncing over to Patterson-Gimlin site, Bluff Creek. I had gone my first time going there. I took my son with me, and I actually got to meet the guys from the Bluff Creek project. Very cool guys, very welcoming and informative. And they basically guided us down to the area and showed us around and showed us the work that they were doing. And it was funny because we were hanging out there. The guys were chopping it up. My son was talking to some of the guys there, and I happened to go pick up my walking stick that I had left in a certain spot. And I had the camera rolling because, you know, Duke, in these areas, you got to keep the cameras rolling, man. So
Yeah,
I'm
because as
walking
soon
down.
as you turn it off, they're going to do something, and then you're
Right,
just going to
right.
get it.
So I go get the walking stick, and I get this vibe. I usually get these weird feelings in these areas sometimes, and when I get those feelings, that's where I usually, try to point my camera towards. And I know also that a lot of times, usually where you get these feelings, and you think that this whatever may be happening at, usually it might be even behind you or off to a side. But anyway, I pointed the camera to this particular area. And man, if I didn't see what looked like a face kind of like hiding in the bushes, and I try to stay as focused as possible, but the camera was a little shaky, and I'm not the best with the camera. At the time, I was using a Canon, I believe, and it was a big old Canon. And I just didn't really know how to use the settings and all that. But yeah, it looks like there could possibly be something there. And it's just a trip to, out of all places, to have that happen there was pretty mind blowing for me, man. So.
I'm gonna grab my walking stick right quick.
Yeah, as far as other sightings and stuff that people have had in the area, I've heard a few. I've heard a lot actually, but as far as like people capturing stuff, I haven't seen too much from the area. And like I said, I published this years ago, so it's been out, and didn't really get any feedback from anyone. So I'm glad you're showing this as well, man. And so cruising through Humboldt, checking out these areas, exploring. The Eel River is one of my favorite spots. There's several redwood groves that the Eel River cuts through. And I have found prints and structures along these areas. We did show some prints last time from the Eel River. And so,
Just to let everybody know that maybe doesn't live in the U.S. or isn't really aware of what that area is like, it's pretty much not very many people there. Lots of forest, lots of mountains, that sort of thing. It's the perfect place for something big to go hide.
Oh, yeah. And we have some of the biggest trees in the world. You know, you got the redwood trees there that meet the ocean. There's 6 rivers in the county. A lot of land. And anyway, so in this particular river, I've been finding a lot of stuff. And one of the structures that I found was this hut structure. It was like almost like a hut teepee, and it was built around a live tree on the beach of the river. And it was just so many sticks. It was ridiculous. I couldn't imagine like a person putting that together. And there was like a base of rocks around it. It was really well built. And what I noticed a lot of times in these structures, sometimes they'll have these it's almost like an entrance. And I noticed these double doors sometimes. So it's like, it'll be a front entrance, what looks like a front entrance, and then sometimes off to the side or towards the back, it'll be like another entrance. And I'm like, whoa, what's that for? It seems like almost like an escape route or something.
All right, we got another one here, you guys. This is right along the river, the Eel River here. Give you guys a view of that pretty quick. So I think it looks like an actual tree. They've completely built all around. And I want to make my way over there, but I haven't figured out how. You can see they use rocks at the bottom as a base also. I would love to check for tracks around there. Looks like there is some possible, there's some animal tracks over this side here. Yeah, I want to figure out how to get over there and just to check out this hut. Yeah, we've been finding some good stuff today. I say we, and I'm alone. Cool.
And yeah, man. And so I when I follow up, because I monitor these areas, and I see the structures go up and down or get rearranged, different styles of structures get built. And this one,
we noticed that one of my research areas near here too, where it looked like they had an area where the kids were playing because they were making little bitty structures. Mm-hmm. And we'd go up there like once a month or so and check, and it seemed like they were just recycling the same building material. Yep. They'd get bored of something, they'd take it down, and they'd use all the same sticks to make something different with it. Mm-hmm. Like they had a set of Legos or something kind of thing.
Yeah. I've had that happen a lot of times, man. It's a trip. Speaking of where the areas that looks like the kids play around, we call those playgrounds, and I had run into several of those. And yeah, we talk about the structures being different calibers, very tiny micro structures at times, or there could be huge macro structures. So they come in all shapes and sizes. But yeah, man, this river just seems to produce a lot, and so I keep my eye on it. And now heading up a little north of the county, um, on a beach area, because like I said, you got the ocean, Pacific Ocean, you get these rivers, and you get these lush forests. So there's a particular beach. There's several beaches where I get activity. You get the same structures. And so I was checking out this area one day, and I had heard about how Sasquatches may feed on clams, river freshwater clams, and even saltwater ones. And I've mentioned also that these beach areas have had a lot of reports, a lot of activity. And so one morning I was checking out one of my spots, not finding too much. And but what do you know? I run into this huge pile of clams. And I know this area, people, the county puts out warnings about the clams in this area, not to eat them because they can be poisonous.
Oh, really?
Yeah, due to the water sometimes being contaminated and stuff like that. And then especially after Fukushima and all that stuff,
Yeah.
washed over here, they're warning people and whatnot. But and I don't know anyone who eats the clams there. I know there's a lot of crabbing and fishing in the area, and that's all good. But yeah, no, I don't know anyone who does eat these clams. But anyway, it was a huge pile, dude. And off to the right of this pile of clams was several sticks, because on these beaches you get a lot of driftwood that washes up, which gives them material for the structures.
Right.
And it was just, I've heard of people mentioning sometimes finding just simple sticks in the ground, being stuck in the ground. And what I've noticed with a lot of the structures that I find is that there's these wishbone or wide branches incorporated a lot of times. It's almost like a signature thing. And that's what gives me kind of like confirmation of whoever might be doing this. It's these same people, kind of like the X's that people find.
I can verify that in my research areas too. It's the same thing. A lot of times, especially with the bigger structures, they incorporate a Y-shaped branch or limb, or in the case of the Mega X that we found that was 6 stories tall that they made out of lodgepole pines. The centerpiece of it is a tree with a Y in it, and they put both the side pieces across it.
Yep.
And the center post is still standing, but the other parts are down somehow mysteriously.
Wow. Yeah.
Look at that. How's it look from below? Hear that, folks? Wow. Oh, we're coming to check it out. Making a magical structure. They just happen to all go right in between the fork of that tree. Of all the places they could fall, right into the fork of that tree.
Totally coincidental, just like that huge teepee we're going to go check out.
Yeah. Coincidence happens naturally.
And so yeah, another one is the trident. The trident.
3. Yep.
Mm-hmm. And so off to the side of the pile of clams was several sticks stuck in the ground, pretty decent sized sticks, not too big. And one of them was a Y branch, and I was just like, oh God, in my mind, I'm just like kind of like the confirmation little bell went off in my head.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, someone was munching on plants here.
So I found this structure here at the beach, which is most likely humans, I'm thinking. I've never seen a pattern that is stacked there. This side just caught my eye here. There's a bunch of little wishbones propped up right here. One there. There as well. They're all standing up. I know in the bigger structures they like to use these types of sticks. So I find that funny. And then right here we have a bunch of clams that look like have been eaten by something. Find that very suspicious. I'll take you over to the structure so we can take a look at it. There's a Y there as well, or wishbone. I like to call them the wishbones. And I'll make a wish. Got this over here. I think people did this, but I don't know. Those little Y's over there just kind of tripped me out a bit. And then to have a bunch of clam shells next to it, looks like it's been eaten. Someone had some clams. All right, over
and since then, yeah, I've had seen some pictures of folks that have posted these clam piles and stuff, so that I found that pretty cool. And yeah, around these structures I found also bones, and there's one particular area further up where there's a lot of elk on these beach areas. And yeah, man, there's a elk hill right next to these structures, and I was just like, wow, like I've never seen an elk hill. And I've seen plenty of deer kills and stuff like that, but yeah, the elk kill kind of, and it being next to the structures really got my attention. And so yeah, interesting stuff to find next to these structures. And yeah, so cruising down to another little redwood grove in the county, I found what people find a lot also is what they call the astrid structures.
Yeah.
Like, yep. And it wasn't a huge one, but it was pretty gnarly. It's quite a bunch of sticks woven in there, and yeah, I got to document that. And it's just I don't know. I get this joy and excitement when I find these things, and yeah, it's just something to study. I feel there's a lot of people that don't give 2 cents or any sense into it. I just feel it's a vital part of this this subject. And then people always mention, yeah, how do you know that they're building these things, or is there any proof? And no one's had proof. I mean, I think there's certain things that could verify that these things are doing these things. And I would imagine that in my mind, I just feel like it.
As far as I'm concerned, it's already been proven. I've had more than enough guests on my show to vouch for that. When I had Scotty up in Alaska on, they aren't even Bigfoot researchers. They just had their moose hunt interrupted by finding lots of Bigfoot tracks. So they followed them around for an entire day filming them until they got bored with filming tracks over and over because there were so many. And they followed them into this one grove of trees. And there were these, both these trees had about that like 3.5, 4 inches thick. And about 8 feet up, they were both snapped in opposite directions from each other. And at the base of both of these trees was the 2 18-inch tracks of the Bigfoot that stood there and snapped them. So Bigfoot snaps branches and stuff.
Okay, show me the footprints.
Okay, here's one right here.
See it? It's all flat.
Yep, and I can see the toes.
And the toes.
Hard to see in the video.
Right, I know it's hard. And then you got that one over there. I don't want to disturb anything, but you got this where you can see the toes. See the toes?
Mm-hmm.
Right there's the toes.
Hold on, let me get
the hill
these
comes
breaks.
to here.
Look
see
at
the hill mark?
Hold on.
Right here. Watch.
Look at those breaks.
See? Are you? Yeah, and you can see where he just grabbed it. Look, he stood here. That's where his footprints are. Stood from there to here and said, pow, and broke those off. Look at all the trees around you. That's a big tree.
Yeah.
So we're close to the area. I know we are.
You know what? I need to go back and get the tape measure.
Okay. But you see?
Oh, yeah.
They grabbed that mother and just pow. And you can kind of see where he stood too, right here, and disturbed the ground with the sand right here. Mm-hmm. And then that footprint, you can see it. Look at that one, where he stood right here and flattened the earth. So, and look right here, look at this. See this? Look right here, that trail, all the way through there. What would break that right there and lean it over? See it?
I got another one.
There you go. Then you're looking at these, look. Just broke. And nothing else is, look, nothing else but that. And then if you go over here, there's another spot. So, let's
the other thing is a lot of these gigantic structures that we've found, if you go back there, you find tracks. They're hanging around by them. So if it ain't them making them, somebody else is their pal and makes these things for them so they can go hang out there, okay? And then the third thing is a lot of these structures that we're finding up here, even if you had a logging helicopter, you couldn't make these things. And there's no road or path or trail or even game trail going anywhere near them.
Yep.
And we've filmed them being built too. We had one that was a big X structure. And then this was down the hill from where the Super X was. And the next time we came up there in the spring, the Super X was down. So we went to see if the smaller X down on the hill below it was still there. Yeah, it was still there. Now they're turning it into a huge teepee that's 5 stories tall. And every time we went up there during the summer, we'd go back and film it, and they added new stuff onto it. Mm-hmm. About halfway through the summer, they bent over a 40-foot pine tree and crammed the top of that underneath it. That ain't happening naturally.
Yeah, no, and there's, I've seen videos of them, throwing trees and shaking trees. So I know, they do stuff with trees.
Oh, yeah.
They do stuff with rocks and other stuff too, man. That's for sure. And
they're plenty big enough to do it. I mean, what got us into the area we're in originally was somebody else just randomly driving around up there that knows about Bigfoot, saw this gigantic X structure. It's Richard Williams. And it was sitting on top of a little promontory across the river. There's no road or anything going over there. He had to wade through the river up to his waist and climb up this embankment to go look at it. And both sides, entire lodgepole pines that have been placed there. No root ball or anything on either one. So, okay, who did that? Yeah, pretty obviously.
Wow. Yeah, man. And so, all that brings me to this other particular redwood grove, man. And speaking of trees, so this particular clip of video here, man, it's weird because there's always weird stuff around these Sasquatch. So it looks like possibly, I was told by retired park ranger Robert Leiterman, Humboldt County, it might be an albino redwood, is what he thought. But there's this redwood that looks a completely different color than all the other trees in this area. And it looks like it's peeled of bark, possibly. It looks really smooth, but and there's these faces, what looks like faces, and I'm totally aware pareidolia, but there's all these different faces, dude, and they're kind of like stacked on top of each other, and it's like they're part of the tree. And so it looks like almost like a totem pole. And I've heard people describe these cryptids sometimes that'll stack on top of each other in the woods or wherever, and it looks like almost like a totem pole of faces. And but anyway, I'm not saying these are cryptids. I'm not sure what it is, but another anomaly happened off to the right of this particular tree. There are several other redwoods, and in between these redwoods, this subject, and it's the color of the redwoods almost. It's this reddish, goldish color, and it seems to materialize out of thin air, and it looks like it's almost like hugging the tree. You can't really see a face, but you see what looks like a body, a pretty big body with its arms wrapped around one of these redwoods. And so what I did is I scrubbed back and forth so you could see the action of the materializing of this subject. And it is the most bizarre thing, dude. And you I know you've heard about these beings being able to do stuff like this.
Oh hell, we got it on video.
Okay. So yeah, man, I want you to definitely check this out. And once again, this has been published for several years. Got little feedback. I think at the time I didn't even titled it a certain way and not mentioning much about what was happening. And then I kind of went through it again and did the scrubbing and whatnot and reposted it and put a different title. And some people checked it out, didn't get much feedback, but I'm asking for feedback to see what people think. If there's someone out there that might know what what this may be. I'm all ears, man. And so yeah, hopefully, Duke, you have some insight on that and on the what that totem pole thing might be.
As far as the totem pole thing goes, I refer you to a channel called Swan Lake Bigfoot.
Okay.
And Robert, the guy that runs around the woods around his property and gets a lot of stuff on video. And he found this one area where it looked like there was a totem pole, like part of this tree had faces on it. They all looked like Bigfoot faces, all stacked up on top of each other. And he didn't have time to go look at it and see if it was like, something carved in there or whatever. So he had to go back because it was getting dark. So he came back like, a day or two later to check it out again, and it looked completely different.
Wow. That's weird, man. And once again, Duke, I had zoomed in this particular area. And I didn't really, I'm sure I noticed maybe the tree, but maybe not, because I think I maybe would have walked over to it. But as far as the subject materializing, dematerializing, I didn't notice it at the time. Is once again, one of those things is after the fact, you're checking out the video. But the weird thing is, like, I knew I could feel it. I zoomed in this area, and that's what the camera picked up, man. And yeah, you know,
That's wild.
mm-hmm,
Well, a
very
good example of what we were talking about a second ago, having people look at the stuff really makes a difference, because sometimes it'll get past 3 or 4 people even that are really sharp-eyed, know what to look for, still will miss it, and somebody else will catch it. And that happened with a piece of my video that we filmed spring 2 years ago. I had Aaron from Billings over here, and we were out running around on the far side of the river where we're not supposed to be, and we don't have permission to go there anymore because we made them mad by doing that. So we're not going to be going over there. But anyway, while we were over there, we're all filming. All 3 of us are filming in different directions, doing different things. And Michael's standing in front of me talking to her, and I start filming. Now, apparently, who was in the background thought I was filming Michael's head, but I was filming over his head. His baseball cap's at the bottom of the screen. So I've got whatever it is in the background on camera, and it thinks I'm not looking at it, and it moves. And some sharp-eyed person caught this movement in the background. It's blending the whole time. It's white. And it just shifts position and moves. And it looked like a creepy predator effect where there's something moving in the background. And I had no idea I had caught this. And I put that piece of video up, and nobody caught it for over a year until it got recycled onto a best of reel that I used for a speech that I did at the Nebraska Bigfoot conference. And then I put that out again, and somebody was looking at it and went, "Duke, there's something moving back here, timestamp, da, da, da." And I looked at it and went, "Oh my God."
wow.
And that was a piece of video we had gone over so many times because we kept catching them in the background. There was a ton of them there watching us. So we had really gone over that piece of video, still missed it somehow. So yeah, it really helps to have the sharp-eyed viewers taking a look at this stuff.
For sure. And another thing is like, yeah, and that's why a lot of times I don't delete a lot of my stuff. I got a lot of stuff. My videos are really short on my channel. I try to get to the point. And a lot of it is looking at structures and sticks. So, you know, people might find it boring, but I don't delete a lot of stuff because there's a lot of stuff out there to go through. And I recommend people to save their stuff because you never know what you might have. You know, there's
absolutely. I filmed stuff before that I just, on first look at it, I went, man, who cares? And then I put it on the show because it's like, okay, everything that we did that we shot footage of, unless it's completely boring, redundant. Okay, we're here, we're seeing this, here we're filming this. I put it in there. And doesn't necessarily mean there's anything on it, but when you have a few thousand people looking at it, if there is anything there, the chances are pretty good somebody's going to notice it. So, and that does happen, where some of the audience members have found like really noticed amazing stuff. Hey, go look at this, timestamp, da da da. And oh my God, yeah, that's a Bigfoot. And there's a second one behind him looking over his shoulder too yet, you know, like, great catch, man.
Yep. Oh yeah. And yeah, which brings me to while we're on this the subject of these creatures here. I actually kind of skipped a little bit. There's another picture that you had shown at the end of the last interview as well. And this picture had a yellow arrow pointed at the subject. And this one was pretty clear. And it was taken in, it's pretty much the Hoopa Reservation. And it's an area nicknamed Devil's Elbow. And we had gone down to the area because I was like, oh, Devil's Elbow, let me go check it out. So we hiked down to the river and I'm taking footage. My partner's bathing in the river and whatever, not much happened while I was there. But after reviewing the video, I thought I noticed some possible vocalizations. And I think it was brought to the attention of, I don't know if you know this gentleman. He went by a Bigfoot anthropologist on YouTube. So I don't know, it got to him somehow and he went over it and did his thing. And I guess, yeah, uncovered some possible vocalizations. And then we uncovered that we found that timestamp from that video, not with Bigfoot anthropologists, but me and a couple other people. And that was a really good one. Yeah, that's right outside, you know, Hoopa is where most of the Bigfoot reports are coming from in Humboldt County. And once again, Humboldt has the most reports out of California. And like I said, so in the county, that's where the concentration is around this particular reservation. And then that's where we captured this subject. And yeah, I don't know, the face looks a little distorted. You can clearly see the body, but the face, I'm not sure. It looks a little creepy, Duke, and I hope it's not a gugway or something.
Doing their blending trick.
Yeah, and you know, it's so now that I think of it, there is a movie released. There's several movies released that were based in Humboldt County, Willow Creek being one of them. There's Lost Coast tapes. There's several. What Netflix did a Sasquatch thing recently, but it really doesn't have much to do with Sasquatch. But they had, you know, some Sasquatch people in there, and so if you want to check that out. But there was Primal Rage, and Primal Rage was really creepy, and it's like this long. I think you showed clips of it.
Yeah, Primal Gugwee. They just stole the whole idea of the Gugwee.
Gugwee, and I'm like, dude, why is this Bigfoot look so gnarly? It's a Gugwee, bro. You got it. Oh man, but anyway.
Actually, before I'd even seen that movie, Kat Hansen contacted me and she went, "They stole everything we were talking about the Gugwees, made a movie out of it." And I'm like, "Oh, good. Now maybe somebody will learn something. Maybe a few people will go, what the hell's the deal with this? This doesn't look like a Bigfoot." Yeah, no, it doesn't. Doesn't act like one either.
And so, yeah, so that this all brings me back to the southern part of the county where the homestead we had is, and where a lot of this started for me, the activity. And I had gotten some footage. So there was this ravine behind the house, and all wooded, heavily wooded. And then this is where I felt a lot of strange vibes coming from this ridge and this particular ravine. And the property went over that. And so one day my partner and I decided to go explore, see what was all up there. And some of the neighbors had some free range cows and stuff. And every once in a while they'd come around and you know, do their thing. So we climb up this ridge, and I had found structures in this area before. I would hear the wood knocks, whistles, and this is the same property where we would get the orbs. And so this one day we're exploring and finding some stuff, some weird stuff, structures and whatnot, and went in pretty deep. And we had our dog with us, and all of a sudden I started getting these vibes. And so I popped the camera out and I pointed in this particular direction of the woods, and this weird face is looking back at me, dude. And it's I can't tell what it is. And once again, I zoom in, and you can see this thing pretty much move its face. What looks like it moves its face to one side and it moves it back pretty slowly. And I only noticed like what looks like one eye and possibly like a nose. It's the strangest thing, and trying to stay as steady as possible, focused, and the dog is kind of, I think it ran up on me, and I stopped recording, but I did pan down a little bit to see if I would see anything else, maybe the rest of a body or any other subjects, and it does look like to the bottom left, like some weird, once again, it looks like almost like plants, but you see a pair of eyes, and I don't know if it possibly blinks or not, but it was pretty bizarre, man. And once again, I would love people's opinions. It's been posted for years, and just never really heard back from people. yeah, just another interesting piece of footage, and especially from that property. That property had a lot going on, man, and that's where I did have my first sighting that I explained on the last show, and yeah, just a lot of weird things from there. And I did set up some game cameras just to test them out, see what would happen with them. I'm aware that, you know, it's a good way to keep them away. Yeah, I do.
Oh, they'll just walk around the other side of the tree that it's not aiming at.
Yeah,
They have no problem with it.
and Duke, I knowing that, I don't even put, you know, the straps on. I don't set them up on trees like that. I just place them wherever, you know. I don't even use the straps. I just kind of just, I know you guys know I'm putting them there. If you guys want to mess with them, go for it. You know, that's what I say. And yeah, I've gotten some weird anomalies with the game cams. And there's one in particular. So I would, you know, switch them around the property, and we had these water tanks because our water was fed through a spring. And these water tanks were about, I would say, they're like maybe 3,000 gallons, and they were about maybe,
big.
Yeah, about 6 to 8 feet high, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them, and we had several of them. And one time, I decided to place one of these game cams on top of one of the water tanks. You know, it was up high off the ground. And for some reason, I just felt like, you know, let me put it here and see what happens. And left it there for maybe a week or so, and picked it up and went through some of the pictures. And man, if I didn't get something weird, there's this one picture where I see this strange face, which looks like a Bigfoot, your typical Bigfoot face. And it comes into frame in this picture, and then in the next picture, it's completely gone. And you know, it could have been a moth. I don't know. I don't think so. I was told that they're like, oh, maybe it's a bug or something like that. And so at the time, it's weird because I have a computer, I have an Apple laptop, man, but my data's full on the computer, and I'm just kind of like this mess. But I got my disorganized mess. I got my stuff, but it's just all over the place. And so I didn't, at the time, I was really excited to upload this and get feedback. And so what I did, I didn't even upload it to the SD card to the computer or anything. I kind of just, from the game cam, I used my phone to record and make this video. But it came out in the video. So yeah, I would like to get people's opinions on that as well. And, you know, people say that they don't.
All right, so something triggered the camera here at night. See, here's my toothpick. Focus on this area down here. I kind of already see something going on. But what I really want to show is this next picture. So remember this flick here, and we're gonna go on to the next one. Right here. Let me know if you see a face. Thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever. Go on to the next picture after that, and something obviously triggered this. I don't see it anymore. Leave a comment, like, subscribe. And share. Yeah, I thought that was pretty trippy. I just thought I'd share that with everybody.
We avoid game cams. I think there is a few game cam pictures that may be legit out there.
Oh, there are. And it depends on what the game cam's set up like. If it's an IR sensor, they can see that. Okay. They're going to avoid it. But there's other game cams that don't use that methodology. And the military even has ones that are tripped by ground pressure on a ground plate that you bury under a trail or something like that. So yeah, I mean, it's potentially possible to do. William Lunsford gets game cam pictures of them, but they use camera traps. Or they have like a plot watcher that's running all the time. When anything moves, it comes on. It's kicking out live video at the time that it's happening and sending it to you. And then they got other ones where they'll put up, give them some Snicker bars and put up a camera there that's aimed at the Snicker bars, and they will notice and try and disable. But then you have another camera aimed at that camera, so when they go screw around with that camera, you get a picture of them.
Yeah, man. And so yeah, it's I put them out there, and I have fun with them. And like I said, I picked up the orbs also on game cam, and just some other anomalies where you can't really tell what it is. It's kind of either black pictures or just weird blurry pictures and stuff. And of course the wildlife, which is fun also. Check out, see what else is bumping around.
Have you gotten any orb pictures on game cam?
Yeah, they were still shots. Even though a lot of the game cams I was using, you had the option of like video and pictures. I do have some stills, but I didn't send that to you. But I did send you a nice, cool orb video.
We'll just show that right now. Check it out, everybody.
All right.
Oh, that was cool.
So yeah, man, these orbs, they tend to pop up a lot on the property. I've mentioned it before, and I'm just hearing more and more, Duke, about these objects being in and around these cryptids or cryptid areas. I've seen them even out in the ocean, and it's a weird phenomenon, man. And yeah, I've got a lot of this stuff documented. And this particular orb that we checked out, I mean, as you can see, it was really colorful. And I don't know if it was at points that because it grew into a big size and then it would shrink. So I don't know if that was the camera going out of focus or the actual orb. And it's funny because sometimes I'll see the orb do things with my eyes, but when I look at it through the camera, it's doing something else. It's still weird, but it's not exactly what I'm seeing.
That's another peculiarity with orbs that I've heard reported from eyewitnesses with it, that sometimes if you're looking through the camera, you see an orb, and then you put the camera down, you can't see it with your naked eye. Mm-hmm. And the opposite thing happens, where they can see it with their naked eye, and they try and get it on camera, and they can't find it in the camera.
Yep. And I don't know if I mentioned this last time either, and I tried capturing these orbs with my FLIR, but the FLIR won't pick it up for some reason.
No infrared signature. It's not putting out any heat.
Mm-mm.
That makes you wonder how game cams could actually be activated to catch some of these things, and they occasionally do.
Yeah. Yeah, and actually, speaking of the IR and stuff, you ever hear of being able to peel off the IR film off of game cams?
No.
Yeah. I've heard of that. I tried doing it, but I wasn't able to actually get that far. But I hear it's a good way to be able to capture some weird stuff with these cameras.
Well, I've had a couple different researchers tell me now that if you put your frame per second rate on your video up high enough, like about at least 60 FPS, you'll start catching all sorts of weird stuff. Really weird stuff, because you click through it frame by frame and go, how can there only be a face there for 2 frames and then there's nothing there again?
Yep. Yeah, and I haven't tried that, but I'm very interested. And like I said, I'm still learning about cameras and stuff as I go, and yeah, no, it's just a fun journey, man. And yeah, so these orbs, I don't know if do you get those in your area, dude?
I have not seen any yet, and nor have I actually noticed any on any of the video that I've shot.
Okay.
There was one picture that was taken of me at a big old outdoor beer bash party in northern Minnesota. It was going on for about 6 days. And I was sitting there on this bench and somebody took a picture of me. And it looks like I'm sitting in a stream and there's bubbles that are going past. There's so many orbs going past me. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to make of that one particular picture. But as far as anytime I've been in like cryptid areas or anything like that, or filming or taking pictures or whatever, never seen one. Never, ever.
About. Now I'm sure they're around. But yeah, man. So cruising back down the hill into the redwood groves, there's this other little bit of footage that I sent you. I was in another one of my groves, and I had last time I believe we went through a video where I had shown there was a redwood branch that was like balanced on a tree, and like the tree branch was like wrapped around it, and it was pretty high up. It was pretty weird. And I found another one of these tree branches being balanced on a tree, and but it wasn't as high up as this other one. It definitely got my attention, and it was weird because when I was checking this out, I felt what felt like a stomp, like if someone had stomped their foot, and the vibration of the redwood forest just it shook me, bro. It was weird, and I want to say it's probably like one of the only times I had that happen. And I mentioned it in the video, and it's possible that the sound may have picked up, the phone may have picked up the sound. So, but it's something you definitely probably have to put headphones on too. But anyway, finding these balance sticks really trips me out, and so I kept poking around in the area and didn't find too much. I think I might have found a couple like little lean sticks on a redwood, and nothing major as far as structures. But then I ran into some tracks, and these tracks were deep in the mud, so it must have been done when it was wet and muddy, because they're deep in there. And the toe definition is not as good as the ones that I had showed you in Oregon, but there is something there. And on one of the tracks, and it's only 3, I believe. One of them you can kind of see like the arch of the foot, so they're not as boxy as the Oregon ones, but they're there, dude. And it tripped me out. And the last track was more like of an impression, because it was on like some redwood needles, and then after that it was a redwood log that I'm sure probably stepped on, and then no tracks after that. So it was just three tracks, and it was gone. And
might have switched direction, because we've noticed that a lot of times in the past. And the Barnes and Anderson video from northern Minnesota showed that too. Even though it was like 2.5, 3 feet of snow, Every time you get to a log, it would walk down the log. So that's not hiding its tracks. You can still see the disturbed snow on the log, but they do it habitually. If there's a log or something, it's just walk down the log. You don't leave a track.
Yep. There you go. So yeah, no, and I don't think I it's possible I might have checked around the area, but yeah, I didn't think of that. I don't think I thought of that at the time, but
But on this branch here is totally balanced on that branch there. There's nothing holding it down. That's just some dead brush there on the branch, but this is completely balanced right there. So trying to find my way back to my truck, and I ran into this X here. Thought I just heard something. Anyway, I was gonna show this spot here. Kinda looked like an arch up here with this. Thick bushes. It's like a perfect hangout in here. Perfect camouflage for anything or anyone to be in there. Anyway, just wanted to show you guys that, but yeah, making my way back to the truck. I can't find it. Guess I'll keep rolling for now until I do. Whoa, got caught there. Road's over there. I'll just make my way up that way. I don't know what the hell that was. It kind of felt like a stomp and a growl. But who knows? I'll check it out later, see if we could hear anything. Looks like a leaner there. And who knows if I'll put this up. I did find a few interesting things in here. Nothing major. Some thorns there. Guess I'm gonna cut this short. I got some prints here. They look old. This one looks like a real deep impression. Must have been wet at the time. And it looks like possible toe marks there. Goes in real deep, but you could see the heel. And then in front of that, we got another one. Also may look like some toes possibly there. Here's I think a third one. And it must have gone over there somewhere, but I'm trying to backtrack these steps. See if I find anything else. And I did just get a wood knot right before I started recording. I did find my truck, I think. Okay, cool, I see it there. I think that's pretty cool. Unless there was some barefoot hippie around here, which is very possible. Found a couple X's and some bows and arcs or whatever you want to call them. And we'll see about this audio. Might just be my head. But yeah. Okay, cool.
there you go. So yeah, man, just love exploring these spots because it seems like they're always active all year. And I don't know, it's something about this time of year too. I get this certain feeling that, maybe they're active or something. I don't know, something about
Well, they are, and that's been reported from all over the continent.
right. And
Spring
I
and
don't
the
know.
fall is when they're the most active and moving around a lot.
Yeah, and what I'm saying is that I feel it too. I can feel it. Like, I don't know, I just get the urge of wanting to go out there, and I know this time of year is where I find that, a lot of the structures and stuff like that. And I don't know, it's just a vibe maybe, but yeah, I'm trying to get out there. I'm currently in Los Angeles, but I do have some areas out here, the Angeles National Forest. I've been out to Los Padres National Forest as well. Had some activity there. So I've been trying to get out here as much as possible. I've gone out a couple times and really didn't find much. But,
You got to look before you know, though. So you can't just go, oh, they might be there. Well, let's go find out and see if they're there,
Yeah, no, and I got some areas here that I've had some good action before, and but I just gotta, I guess, revisit those spots. I was looking for some new areas, but there is a lot of reports out here, man. You'd be surprised. People wouldn't think that Los Angeles County would have anything going on, but there's quite a bit going on here, and it bleeds on over to San Bernardino County and beyond. That's heading south, but you head north. A lot of stuff going on. The more north you go, it seems like the heavier the activity. You got the Sierras and all that. And
that's actually where I hear all the activity from California. It's either in your main research area up in the north, right on the border of Oregon, or it's in the Sierras. And the Sierras are freaking gigantic.
Oh, yeah.
They go for like how many 100 miles,
Oh, man. And luckily I've been able to bump around there a bit. We shared some of that audio from Yosemite last time, and man, I would love to explore a lot more up in the Sierras, and we will, Duke. We will be heading out those ways, and yeah, bumping around California a lot. I've been frequenting Mount Shasta a lot lately due to living in Oregon. It's kind of like on the way from California to Oregon. It's right in that area too, so
right on. Say hi to the Lemurians for me the next time you're there.
Yeah. Hey, what's up to everyone over in Telos? Yeah, so having a bump around that area too, I did find a few things that I found interesting, and one is actually a pile of scat, dude, that I sent over. And it's a video.
Bigfoot poo.
Yeah, man. Everyone likes a little poop, eh?
Well, nobody hardly ever finds that, and if they do, they don't usually bother to document or take a sample or anything. I mean, I've only ever found a good example of that one time. It was on a little island in the middle of a river, and some big adult had decided to do his business there. And there was like, if I remember right, there was like 7 or 8 logs that were about as thick around as a soup can and about a foot long.
Jeez.
Yeah, so
that's cool. You got some Lincoln logs there.
Really big ones, yeah. And we didn't think to throw one in a bag and take it back with us or anything. And I think part of the reason why he did his business right there is because that river was flooding. And that little island was almost underwater, and he might have just thought if he took a dump there that the water would wash it away and it wouldn't be there anymore. But instead it started drying up.
Oh, yeah. So I was on Mount Shasta. I forget the trail, and it was man, it must have been like maybe January. There was still snow on the mountain, and my partner and I decided to go for a little exploring, and I found a pile of scat, and I could tell they were eating. So we have these manzanita bushes in the area there, and the manzanita have these little berries, and I hear that these berries are actually good for poison oak. My partner, this salve out of the manzanita berries, but apparently I know that I believe a lot of the wildlife eats it, because I find scat a lot of the times with these little berries in it, and yeah, I find one pile, and I figure, okay, bear. You know, it looked like maybe bear, but it had been like disintegrated, like, so it wasn't no logs or nothing. It was just like a bunch of just little berries, and it was just a big old stain on the ground, and that got my attention. I'm like, all right, maybe a bear around here, or
Yeah.
Sasquatch.
I have found bear scat that looks like that before, so they do that.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
even
yeah.
got video of a mama bear with two babies behind, and she had like explosive diarrhea and fire hosed one in the face. The poor little sucker was like at least 8 feet behind her. He's like, blam, blam, oh,
Oh.
mom, wow.
Yeah, man. And actually, I did send a clip of baby and mama bear too at a Bluff Creek. I don't know, as a little bonus. I don't know if that'll make it, but
There we go. We'll put that in
yeah.
there.
So there's also a mountain lion on FLIR. So we'll see if that makes it. So I run into this second pile not too far after this one, and this one did have some nice nuggets in there, but a lot of these berries, and it was a pretty huge pile, dude. And I know some of these bears could get pretty big, so I'm not sure what did it, but I thought it was. Mm-hmm. And yeah, dude, like I said, there's a lot to explore there. The surrounding areas. You got Castle Crags, a little south of Mount Shasta, that really has my attention too. Been there a few times, and hopefully next time I could share some more stuff with you out of those areas. But yeah, bouncing up north from Shasta, I'm not too far from Crater Lake, also in Oregon. And yeah, I've been there several times, and I know you've heard of Crater Lake, Duke, and the weird stuff that happens there.
Yeah, creepy place. Local native tribe doesn't want to go there, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Oh yeah, a lot of strange disappearances, and just a lot of weird history from there. It's pretty cool, and yes. So yeah, Crater Lake. Found a pretty big structure. What I felt was a structure, and it was, dude, it must have been like 7 X's.
Wow.
Yeah, 7. Some of them pretty big. And I know sometimes we try to look for like super flush X's. This one does have one that's kind of maybe a little wonky, but there's several other X's along this structure at the bottom of it as well. That just, oh man, it's just like too many X's for me for it not to be made by something, man. And so I threw that in there as well. And yeah, I've gotten some weird stuff from Crater Lake. I haven't done any overnights there. I do want to do that, and definitely have someone with me when I do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so much has come out of there, dude. So it's just awesome having access to that area. And there's a lot of other areas in Oregon that I do want to explore as well. I've hit some areas that I've gotten reports out of. I just found some rock stacks, and nothing major. But Oregon, man, you know, is super rich with all this stuff, and I definitely want to tap in more, and I'm anxious to get back.
Right on. Well, it's good to have somebody on the show now that's actually covering that part of the country, because you know, it doesn't seem like you get a whole lot of regular reports out of there unless you just happen to live there and somebody locally says, "Hey, I saw something over here," and that's it. You know.
Yeah.
So it helps to have researchers in different parts of the country that are keeping an eye on what's happening in their area and updating everybody on it. And then you start seeing the weird patterns there too, like what you were just talking about with the totem pole thing.
Oh yeah.
Well, there's, you know, Swan Lake Bigfoot, who filmed the same weird thing way up there in northern Canada.
Mhm.
What the hell?
Yep. Yeah, no, and I love sharing with people. I love checking out other people's stuff, and you know, you get a lot of people these days, bro. You know, just out there online, and you know, I love hearing the stories, and I totally respect, you know, people's encounters and everything. And but you know, I'm just like one of those guys also who is like, all right, where's the evidence, where's the footage, where are the pics? You know, I want
Yeah.
to see. And being able to experience these things that other people have talked about and mentioned, and to have it happen to me, and just to be able to record this stuff and you know, put it out there and keep it for my files as well, man. It's been awesome.
This is a good sign. Not seeing much more. There's a leaner there. Looks pretty crazy. Totally see a face on there. I'm not sure why this water's that color. I don't know if it's a mineral or is it the redwoods that make it red, but it has a reddish color to it. I'm sure someone out there knows more about it. It's very actually beautiful. Yeah, I'd like to learn more about that. So I'm here scoping things out. We found several structures. And check this out. That looks like something there, so let's go take a little walk over there and take a look at things further. I'll just bring you along with me. That's a person. I keep hearing somebody. I think. Check this out, you guys. We got something here. See how all those branches are weaved in? Think that just happened by itself? Wind just built this structure. Let's take a look inside. Someone running by behind me. So we notice a log here. Pretty big branch there. They all bunch up right there. And then we have our little space inside here. Showing you the other plant and bushes that are around. Anyway, yeah, it looks like a Y. There's a little Y stick there, Y branch here. Thought I seen another Y, or I like to call them wishbones. So we're inside. We've been getting these little red mushrooms popping up too. Pretty trippy looking. I don't know what those are, but and here we have a trail leading out this way. So there's the in and an out. Give you guys another view. Sweet. I don't think this is human made.
And then just a lot has happened that I haven't been able to record as well. I'm sure you have a book put together as well, Duke, stuff that didn't make the recordings and stuff that has happened to you. But yeah, man, you know, I'm just keeping on this journey. I feel really pumped up these days. I feel like the scene, as far as like online, has changed. It seems like a new wave. A lot of old school guys that I used to follow aren't really doing as much anymore, or they're just keeping a low profile, it seems like. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah,
they figured out they can't actually make money off doing this, so they quit. Bye-bye. Yeah, if you're here to make money, bye-bye.
But yeah, dude, I'm out there. You see me in the chats, and I love supporting other people and what they're doing, and you know, like I mentioned, staying away from the beefs as much as possible, and the bull. And
you seem to be very well liked and respected in the Bigfoot community. I don't hear anybody that's like, "Oh, Brown Dwarf, he totally sucks. Throw him in the ocean, feed him to a shark." I never hear that. I hear that about a lot of other Bigfoot researchers, especially ones near the coast where it's possible to do that. But I've never heard that about you. So
yeah, cool. You know,
you must be doing good.
Yeah, no, I've had an issue here and there, and hopefully, you know, we could mend that up. You know, it's more of a personal thing, and you know, things happen, and I forgive the person, and I hopefully he forgives me, and it's all good. I love him, and best wishes to him, and yeah, things happen, and I see things happen between people. Man, it's crazy what's happening out there sometimes, and yeah, you got to stay safe, dude. You know.
So you don't want to name names of who you're having the conflict with, then, right?
No. It's all good, man. So
it wasn't like Bobo getting jealous because you get too famous now, or
no? Bobo's my boy, man. But yeah, man, you know, just keeping the good vibe out there, and yeah, and just doing it, bro.
Right on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thanks for coming back and spending some time with us again, and getting everybody up to date on all the interesting stuff that you're finding out there. And of course, as you continue to do so, you'll be no doubt finding more. And so looking forward to having you back on the show again for that one. And I'm sure everybody else is as well. And coming up next week for our Thanksgiving special, Keith Crabtree, the Boggy Creek Monster, is going to be sit down to have a little chat with me about all the weird things that happened when he came up here to go camping with me in Montana and getting his feet tickled by a Sasquatch. So don't miss that. That's coming up next week.
Cool, man.
All right. Well, thanks again for being on the show, and everybody, you know the drill. Be good. Don't get yourself in trouble. And follow the rest of the directions forthcoming. You're kind to everyone. Safety first, last, and always. Pay it forward. Don't be mean to people if you don't have to be. Don't flip off the mountain giant. Don't poke Dogman with a stick. Don't punt the puck, would you? And for God's sake, whatever you do, do not hug the Wookiee.